jalapeno beer cheese soup. I'm gonna show you how to make this in your Instant Pot, and I've got two options for you, with or without the beer. Either way, it is delicious. That is coming up on the Last Minute Cook. Hi, I'm Deborah. You're watching the Last Minute Cook, where I share delicious recipes that are quick so that you can make dinner at the last minute and feel good about what you're serving. So if you're new here, consider subscribing, and don't forget to hit that like button if you appreciate this video. I'd love to hear from you down in the comments, and as always, check the show notes below for more information on this recipe, where to get the printable card, and other recipes like this. For this jalapeno beer cheese soup, just a few ingredients. This is simple. I'm going to walk you through it. We are going to be using, we're going to start with some garlic, some beautiful colors of red and green bell pepper. We're going to be using a yellow onion. I'm going to be using just half of a potato. It's not a potato soup. There's a reason this potato's in there. We're going to talk about it. I'm going to go ahead and use 2 pounds of a sharp white cheddar. You can play with the cheese if you like, but this is what I'm using. We have some vegetable stock and a beer. This one is an amber. You can go darker. And we've got, I'm using pickled jalapeno. You can use fresh jalapeno, but this is what we've got. And a little bit of olive oil to get us started. So let me take you step by step on how we can get this nicely done quickly on the table, starting with our sofrito. All right, when all of your ingredients are prepared, and I've gone ahead and chopped up my green and red bell peppers, my half of a yellow onion is what I've got here, just half, and I'm only going to be using half of my bell peppers as well. And we're gonna set our Instant Pot to saute and hit start. I'm on a high setting for saute. I'm gonna go ahead and get the olive oil in there. I'm gonna be using about 2 tablespoons. Okay, so I'm using half of the bell peppers because I want the color mixture in here, but I don't want to use 2 full amounts. You can put in as little or as much of this as you like. I'm going to go with about half. Now, if I were using fresh jalapeno, which you can get a fresh jalapeno, core it, clean it out, chop it up, and add it at this stage. The longer you cook that jalapeno in this, the hotter your oil is going to become. And in this case, I'm using the pickled jalapenos. It's what I have on hand. So I'm going to just be adding these later. I'm not adding these during the sofrito stage. However, I probably will go ahead and add a little bit of that jalapeno juice to flavor up my oil. And in a minute, we're going to be adding our butter and garlic as well. So let's get this cooking down. So make sure you get your potato kind of cubed, nice and small, somewhat even. I'm not going to go too particular, but the point we're using the potato is because it's our roux. So a lot of times when you're using a roux in the Instant Pot, it might have a tendency to burn. So one trick for that is to use a potato, because that will achieve the same thickness as the roux. So it's not a potato soup. It's still our jalapeno beer cheese soup, but this half a potato cooked in here with it is going to give us some extra hardiness to it. So once your onions and peppers are starting to look nice and soft and cook down a little bit, we're going to add our butter and our garlic. I'm going to go a little bit, let me see. We're going to check the, just use your spoon to check your bell peppers if they're a little bit soft. If they're not soft to the spoon, then you might want to go a little bit longer. So this is what we're looking for in our sofrito. We want those onions nice and cooked down and the peppers to have softened. So this is what we're looking, and you can see the color and how much this is all cooked down. So once you achieve about this state, and this can take upwards of about 10 minutes of letting this saute, but it's worth it because the flavors and the texture is so good. We are going to add 4 tablespoons of butter. I'm going to put that right into our pot. And this is when we're going to add our garlic. I've waited to add the garlic because it does have a tendency to burn. So you want to baby that a little bit, put that towards the end. So this was a teaspoon of minced garlic. I just showed you my empty bowl, but it was a teaspoon of minced garlic. And because I'm not I'm not using a fresh jalapeno, so I'm not going to put the pickled jalapeno in there, but I am going to do a cheat and use a little bit of the juice to flavor my oil and my butter. Just a little bit, a spoonful or so. Okay, maybe 2 spoonfuls, however much you like. You control the spiciness based on how much you put in. Have fun with it. I'm going to add in 4 cups of vegetable broth. If you prefer chicken broth or stock, you can definitely use chicken stock. This is vegetarian recipe I'm doing, so I'm going with the vegetable stock or broth here, but definitely you can do a chicken stock. Okay, there it goes. Then we're also going to add our beer. So this is an amber. Again, you can use a darker beer. If you go with a lighter, like a lager like this, it's going to have, it's not going to be as strong of a flavor. So you can play with the flavors based on a beer you like. Use a flavor of a beer you like, and you do not have to add beer to this. If you prefer this to be a jalapeno cheese soup, you may definitely skip the beer. So my potatoes are just cubed up, and I'm going to put them right into the pot. Then we are going to pressurize this for 10 minutes on high pressure, and make sure you're in sealing, not venting. And then just go to your manual pressure cook. You could also go to soup broth. I'm just going to the manual pressure cook. It's your choice. I don't think there's a big difference there. And I'm going to go just down to 10 minutes. We just want to cook this long enough to get those potatoes nice and soft and to get that cheese all mixed in with the other good flavors and ingredients that are in there. So 10 minutes on high. I'm going to hit start, and step 2 will, I guess that's like step 2.5 since we did the sofrito, will be right after this. Okay, after 10 minutes of pressure and allowing a quick release, I went ahead and just released it because we just want to make sure that that potato is cooked. Going to go in and with our potato masher and just mix it all up. And then we will add our next ingredients. Look at how tender these are. Everything is so tender. Just give it a good mash. So I did not add the cheese during the pressure cooking cycle. You don't want to do that. You want to wait till after. The cheese will not behave properly for you. So we want to add that at this step. So let's just make sure our potatoes are nice and mixed in, because we don't want, unless you want it, this is not meant to be a potato soup. This is meant to be a thickening agent. So once that's mashed, I'm actually going to switch out with my whisk and just put us back onto a saute, but on a low. So let's do that. So we're back on saute. Just want to keep the heat going while this potato is being mixed really well into the broth. And I also want to make sure that my broth stays nice and hot, because we're about to add this cheese and we want it to melt. We are going to pour our cheese in. So I don't have it on the high or the medium right now, because I don't want to risk burning any of this. You can see it getting thicker as that cheese is incorporating into the broth. Because we cut the cheese into smaller cubes, it's a lot easier for it to go ahead and melt. If you go too large on your bits of cheese, boy, it's going to be harder to get it to melt in there. You could, of course, take the time to grate the whole thing. These are those pickled jalapenos. I went ahead and chopped them into smaller bits so that we don't get a whole jalapeno slice when we're eating our soup. You can use as much as you'd like, however spicy that you want your soup. This is the amount that I've got. If you can tell, I'm guessing this is about, I don't know, a 1/4 cup of chopped up pickled jalapeno. So we're going to put that in there and let that get in there while it's warming and still cooking. We're warming it a little bit. We are going to add, I've got a cup of half and half. You can use more if you like it more creamy. I'm pouring a little at a time to make sure it stays warm. My half and half is actually at room temperature. If you're starting with cold half and half, you maybe want to just go a little slow as you're adding it in. You can, of course, serve it just in a regular dish and garnish how you like, but isn't it fun to serve this jalapeno beer cheese soup in a bread bowl? Why not? And of course, you can take the time to make your bread from scratch and go through all of that, but this is store-bought sourdough bread. I'm just gonna carve a little hole into it and just have a fun way of serving this soup. You don't want your edges to be too thin or it's just gonna soak right through. So leave a little bit of a margin there, just a little bit of scooping out, and it's ready for the soup. You can see how creamy this is. As this cools, it's gonna thicken just a little bit. You really wanna give it a stir before you serve it because that cheese will settle down at the bottom, those heavier ingredients. So if you want it to be a little bit thicker, just make sure you're giving it a little bit of a stir. So this is a cheese soup. You're gonna see some cheese in this. Let's give it a try. It's gonna be super hot. Okay. I love the perfect level of spice in this. It is not too much, but it's definitely enough. Wow, that's good. We're gonna put this right into our bread bowl. And you're gonna see this cheese. You can see it in my ladle. It just wants to come right back. So you're gonna get some good creamy bites there. Look at that. You see how that pours in? That's what it's gonna look like when you make it this way. Oh, that is yummy. I'm gonna get one more scoop of that. Yum! What a way to serve this soup. It takes no effort, just a little bit of carving out the top of this sourdough bread, and you get to serve it in a wonderful, fun way. And this soup is so good. I'm gonna take another bite. And then you can just get a little bit of that bread from the side. Look at that. This is something that is worthy of having people over just so you can serve this. Just if you want a reason to have people over, here it is, y'all. This is so good. So enjoy this. And oh, by the way, if you've not subscribed, do that. And if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. I would love to hear from you in the comments below. And make sure you ring the notification bell so you can be notified of my episodes as I post them for fun, other quick recipes like this. I hope you've enjoyed this jalapeno beer soup. It's delicious. Go make it, serve it, have fun with it. And thank you so much for watching. Buon appetito. Look at that. The bread. Look at the bread. Look at the soup.